Good morning and very warm welcome to today's session. This session is part of a series of sessions which are coming ahead from ASSOCHAM, and we welcome you all on this session. To start with, we are starting a session on diabetic patients, and for this session, we have with us Dr. V. Mohan, who is a leading diabetologist. So my special welcome to Dr. V. Mohan and to all the office bearers for today's session. Friends, we are all aware in today's scenario, everywhere we see people are struggling with COVID-19, and COVID-19 is basically a virus which we get those who are having problem, and when we get in close contact with the person, we get this virus. And this is very dangerous virus, and people are catching this virus. And to create the awareness, we have all here together. We welcome all the members who have joined us. This becomes more deadly for those who are having diabetes, whether it is type 1 or type 2 diabetes. For today's session, we will discuss all the things, all the precautions which are to be taken by the diabetic patients. So everyone needs to be careful for the virus, but the people who are having diabetes need to be extra cautious. So we have with us Dr. V. Mohan. V. Mohanji is a leading Indian diabetologist. He is chairman and chief of diabetology at Dr. Mohan's Diabetic Specialty Center, which is the IDF Center of Excellence in Diabetes Care. He is also president and director of Madras Diabetic Research Foundation in Chennai, which is ICMR, Center of Advanced Research on Diabetes. Dr. Mohan has been delivering care to patients with diabetes across the country via its centers and telemedicine. He has trained thousands of diabetologists in India and other developing countries. He is ranked among the top 2% scientists in the world and top scientists in India in the field of endocrinology and metabolism as per Stanford University global ranking. Sir, I am keenly looking forward to your insight, being the specialist on the subject and most renowned in world for diabetes. So I'm also looking forward to all the participants. If you have any questions, and please share your questions and queries so that we have the expert and we can address all those. I look forward. So not taking much time now, I would further invite Dr. Mr. Jatinder Sodhi, our chairman, ASSOCHAM Himachal Pradesh State Development Council, and chairman and managing director of Aish Group of Companies, India, for his opening address. Thank you, Dr. Jatinder sir. Please.
Thank you very much, Ramanji. Good morning, all. At the outset, I would like to thank you all for joining us for the first insightful session of ASSOCHAM COVID-19 awareness series on the effect of COVID-19 on diabetic patients with the leading diabetologist, Dr. V. Mohan. We welcome you, Doctor. You doesn't need an introduction. The almost whole India knows you, even the world knows you. As entire country is fighting with the second wave of COVID-19, ASSOCHAM, being a very responsible apex body of the country, has come up with COVID-19 awareness web series program to create awareness among people about this deadly virus. Later, we are having other sessions will be conducted fortnightly on the effects of COVID-19 on cardiac patients, on nephrology patients, on pulmonology patients, on neurology patients, and so on. as it is well known that people of comorbidities are more prone to COVID-19 infection. This is leading to the highest death rates. According to early studies, 25% of the patients who went to hospital with severe COVID infections had diabetes. Those with diabetes were more likely to have serious implications, complications, and die of the virus. With Dr. Mohan's valuable knowledge and insight on the subject, one can improve the quality of life through his tips of to manage, treat, cure, and prevent diabetes and succumb to the COVID-19 infections. Doctors, it's very important to acknowledge the doctors and nurses who have come to serve humanity in this COVID era without caring for themselves and their families, led their lives to save the world. Doctors are like gods. We must appreciate their efforts and should be thankful to real warriors, the frontline warriors. COVID-19 has shrunk the world. The freedom has gone, but this has brought everyone very near to each other, emotionally and morally. I have seen people helping each other, known and unknown, without their own personal interest. So that way the world has become very close to each other. Finally, the whole world understood one word: immunity. Immunity is the key. If you have strong immunity, then none of these viruses or bacteria, either muted or unmuted, cannot do anything to your body, and your body can fight it. Our old wisdom of Ayurveda has also played a very major role in saving the people. People have learned to use their heritage. Like in the kitchen, they were using haldi and all the spices, the tulsi on a regular, the giloy, these kind of uses. Now they're making their immunity very strong. People has increased the use of these herbal products during this pandemic and has saved their lives and their families and their friends. I don't want to be in between Dr. Mohan and the people who are eagerly waiting for his presentation here and his guidance for all of us to save us from this COVID-19 if we having a problem of diabetes. This can surely be a boon that can help to bend the curve of diabetic epidemic and people living with diabetic thrive. I welcome Dr. V. Mohan to you to start, and please, this is really be a privilege to have you on our platform. Thank you very much for sparing time for us. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jitendra Sodhi, for that kind words. I'm sorry. So just saying a big thank you to Dr. Jitendra Sodhi and Mr. Ramanakra, Rakesh Nakal, Kajal Gupta, and all the other organizers of this event. It's the second time that I'm participating in an ASSOCHAM event, and I know that last time also we touched mostly about COVID-19 and its symptoms and signs and so on. Those have become so common now that everybody every day in the newspapers are seeing that. So I thought in this presentation, I'll change it around a little bit with some of the least recent things that have happened during COVID. And then, of course, leave once the presentation is over, we'll leave enough time for questions. So on that note, I'll try to share my slides. So I have said the effect of COVID-19 on diabetic patients. And so let's start at the very beginning about what is diabetic, because that itself there's a lot of confusion, because today, because steroids are being used so much, people who say, I'm not diabetic, then they get into hospital for COVID and somebody is giving them a lot of steroids as a life-saving measure. And we'll come back to that and the use of steroids and all that later. And then the sugar goes up. So now they're asking, am I diabetic or I'm not diabetic? Because I didn't have diabetes last week. Now, after COVID, they given me steroid, my sugar is 200, 300. Am I diabetic or am I not diabetic? So it's worth, discussing these points. If you have a fasting blood sugar of more than 126 on empty stomach, random, like now, you might have breakfast, may not have breakfast, but Now in middle of the day, suddenly we are picking your blood sugar and you're checking it, and we find it's more than 200, 250, 300, and you have some symptoms. Or you do a formal glucose tolerance test, OGTT, where in the fasting stage you go, they give you a glucose drink, 75 grams of glucose, and at the end of 2 hours, they check it, and it's about 200. Or there's a 3 months control test called HbA1c, which with 1 drop of blood taken at any time, fasting, non-fasting, anything, is more than 6.5, it's diabetes. Now, any one of this is sufficient to diagnose diabetes. You don't need all of them to diagnose diabetes, either fasting or random or 2 hour or HbA1c. Of course, you can have all the 4 also, or permutation combination. But if any one of them is there, in a normal situation, when you're not been used to steroids or something like that, then you have diabetes. And of course, during the steroid treatment also, if it goes up, let's say your blood sugar has gone to 300, 400, you are having diabetes. Whether it's permanent diabetes or not, we will see. When the steroid is stopped, it goes away, then it's not permanent diabetes. But that also shows that you have a tendency to get it. So the values don't change whether you're on steroids or not on steroids. Now, next question people ask is, what about symptoms, doctor? I don't have symptoms. Now, all of you know that even with COVID, you need not have symptoms. You can be absolutely normal. Let's take an RT-PCR, oh, strongly positive. And we take a CT scan, that will also show 30% and around 40%. So most diseases in medicine, unfortunately, may not produce symptoms. And non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, and so on, and even many forms of cancer, produce symptoms very late. That's the whole problem. And this is a myth which you'll hear in social media. You know, there are many people who are not qualified, and also, unfortunately, a few of our own qualified medical doctors, usually a few frustrated ones who don't have patients now and so on, they keep saying all kinds of wrong things. If you don't have symptoms, you don't have a disease. That's not true. It's, of course, you have disease, if you have a more advanced disease, but you have symptoms. But if you don't have symptoms, it doesn't mean you don't have the disease. Cancer can be silent until stage 4, until it has spread to every part of the body and you have only 2 months to live. That is when you produce symptoms. You want to diagnose it then and then tell you that you've got 8 weeks to live? Or do you want to diagnose early and get a complete cure? Diabetes is also like that, and I'll try to explain that to you. But what are the symptoms? Just for you to know what are the symptoms: frequent urination, excessive thirst, and excessive hunger, aches and pains in the limbs, weight loss. In spite of eating too much, they lose weight. Itching, particularly in the genital areas, private parts, both for men and women. So classical sign of diabetes. Tiredness, you keep eating, doing everything, but still you're tired, all the time tired. Delayed healing of wounds. Some cut comes, wound comes. It takes normally 2 days, it will heal. But for here, after 2 weeks, it's still not healed. That could be a sign of diabetes. So remember, these are the classical symptoms of diabetes as we read in a textbook. But textbook never comes true in practice, So you can have diabetes without having all of this. And that's why I said 50% of patients have no symptoms at all. And it's better to diagnose at that stage, because it's so simple to diagnose with a blood test that at that time itself you can control your diabetes. Now, just to put it in the proper perspective, the 3 lower ones I already told you: HbA1c more than 6.5, glucose test 2 hours more than 200, fasting more than 126. Now let me go to the normal. What is a normal person who has no diabetes at all? Fasting will be less than 100. So it can be 80, 90, something like that. After giving glucose, after 2 hours, it won't cross 140. And if you see this HbA1c test, it will be 5.6 or below. If you have these 3, all the 3 must be there to say that you are normal. And of course, a lot of people are completely normal. Even after 80 years, 90 years, many people don't get diabetes and they don't have the gene for it. They may not get it in their lifetime at all. There's a condition in between. You can, I've said less than 100 and 126. What about those in between? 100 to 125. I said 140 after glucose. What about, and 200 here? What about those in between? And then I said 5.6 or below and above 6.5. What about those between 5.7 and 6.4? They have a condition called as pre-diabetes. It's a condition which you have for some time, maybe few months, maybe few years. In India, it's only few months to 1 or 2 years. By the time you'll progress to diabetes. But the advantage of detecting people with pre-diabetes is that you can normalize it and go back. A true reversal is possible at this stage. If you don't watch out, if you continue what you're doing now, no exercise, eating unhealthy food, you gain another 2, 3 kilos, 4 kilos in weight, you'll be pushed into the diabetic state. Once you come to the diabetic stage, it is more difficult to reverse. Nothing is impossible. You can still reverse it. But the way people talk about reversal in 1 day, reversal in 2 days, you take this magic bullet and then you'll get, reversal of diabetes. I'll reverse it in 2 hours for you. Humbug, total humbug. Don't believe them. I wish diabetes was so easy. It's like saying I'll cure, cancer by giving you one pill. Take it today and tomorrow, no cancer. That God can do. We are not gods. Unfortunately, we are not gods. So God can do anything. He can touch you and say you're cured, and I know people who have been cured like that through divine help. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about normal mortals like us. What do we do? And so for us, this reversal becomes more difficult with diabetes, but you can. If you really work hard, you can. And this is just to put it, this picture I want you all to remember. If you want, you can take pictures of this and keep it. So this is a normal stage where you don't have anything, no pre-diabetes. Now you have a large, period when you can have pre-diabetes. Sometimes it can be there for 5-10 years. Sometimes it'll be there only for 3 months, 6 months. And then by the time you'll go off into the stage of clinical diabetes. Once it comes here, you can see still I'm showing an arrow of reversal. So I'm one who believes that yes, true reversal is possible first to the pre-diabetic stage and from pre-diabetic to normal stage also. It is possible, but if you want to reverse diabetes after you've got clinical diabetes, then you need to lose about 10 to 15 kilograms in weight. 15 kilograms, that's like 30-35 pounds you have to lose. And you should not put it back again. You should remain there, lose that weight and remain like that throughout. Then it is possible that you can go. How many of us can lose 15 kilograms in weight? Only a handful can. Very, very, very driven people, who are very passionate about this and very committed. Those people, if you have a strong motivation to do that, you can do it. The average person doesn't do that. And then if you don't control the diabetes, what happens is you can go to the stage of complications where the eye, the kidney, the heart, the feet, something gets affected. Nerves, amputation, kidney failure, blindness, heart attack, strokes. All these are the complications of diabetes, apart from going to diabetic coma and so on. Okay. And this is what happens when you get COVID also. It drives you towards the complication stage. So this is the natural history of diabetes. And please keep this in mind whenever you read about reversal and so on. People tell me that even after developing complication, I can reverse diabetes. Come on, don't joke with me. Because once your eye is gone, kidney is gone, you're going to reverse it and make it completely normal. It's not possible. You've lost the game at that particular stage. If you can preserve your life at that stage and get few more years of quality life, that itself is a big thing. The point I'm trying to make is diagnose it early. Diagnose it at this stage or that stage where you can easily bring it. Don't even go into the diabetic stage. Now, last year on November 14, World Diabetes Day, I made a plea. And I made the plea saying that we are not going to prevent diabetes in India easily. The reason is our population is going to increase. We are already exploding in our population. We are going to overtake China in the next 3 to 4 years. You know all that, our total population. Then how can the diabetic population come down when our population is increasing? You think diabetic population will go down? Along with that, obesity will increase, hypertension will increase, diabetes will increase, everything will increase, okay, when you have a longer. Number two, our lifespan is going up. Every 5 years, our lifespan is increasing by 3-4 years. These are all age-related diseases to a large extent. So the longer we live, there'll be more diabetes. So you don't have to worry about that. So I made a plea, okay, and it's the first time I know somebody has made a plea like that. And the plea was, let us have a diabetes complications-free India. I'm not saying a diabetes-free India. That's too ambitious, very difficult. But what I'm saying is, let us have a diabetes complications-free India. And for that, I want everyone in ASSOCHAM, everyone who's listening to this, to join us in that movement and say that 5 years from now or 10 years from now, nobody in India will go blind due to diabetes. Nobody in India will have a kidney failure due to diabetes. Nobody in India will have an amputation due to diabetes. Nobody in India will have a heart attack due to diabetes. If you're able to do that, I think we have got a great achievement, and we really don't have to worry if the number of people with diabetes go up, because they're not going to suffer in their lifetime. They're going to have a normal lifespan. They're going to live up to 90, 100 years of age. So it doesn't matter if you have diabetes or not. Okay. So that is a very important point I want to tell you. And I want to tell you one more point in case I forget in the thing. I want to tell you one more. The one way to prevent the COVID-related complications is to control your diabetes well. I'll come back to that, but control your diabetes well. And from that point of view, I declared late in May, last week or so, I made a declaration and I said, the whole country now rally around one single thing, one single pointed thing that we ought to have. Okay. And that is, let's declare June 2021, the month we are in right now. Okay. We've already gone 4 or 5 days are gone. So this month, let us declare it as the diabetes control month. And if we declare it as a diabetes control month, and if every physician treating diabetes patient and every diabetic patient family which has a person with diabetes, if you see that HbA1c is kept below 7%, then you need not worry about COVID-19 at all. Even if you get it, you're like a person without diabetes. Both the speakers before me talked about diabetes being a comorbidity which can worsen COVID-19, only if it is uncontrolled. If we control it well, you will not have any side effects due to COVID. So now with that, I'm switching tracks and going to COVID-19 itself. What is the connection between diabetes and COVID-19? Why are we keeping on saying that, first of all, are people with diabetes more likely to develop severe forms of COVID-19? I think the answer is yes, but only if it is uncontrolled, only if your diabetes is uncontrolled. Now, these are the early data from Wuhan, and this has been now shown in our country and in every other country. The overall death rates they reported was 2%. Later on, due to improvement in treatment, it's now come down to less than 1%. That means if 100 people get COVID, less than 1 die. Okay, that is the statistics today in India. If about 200 people get COVID, about 1 in 200 may die. The 199 people are going to escape. So don't be mortally scared about COVID-19. You have a 99 to 99.5% chance of recovery. But in the same series, you can see if you have diabetes, the death rate increased threefold. That means diabetes increases your chances of dying from COVID threefold if your sugar is not controlled. So why wouldn't we declare diabetes? I was surprised that nobody has actually taken this up on a war footing. So I said, okay, then I'm going to do it, even if it's single-handed. And I was surprised everybody started joining. The association started joining, my colleagues started joining from all parts of the country. They listened to this clarion call and they said, we are all going to join you. If you see social media, how many people have already come forward and said, we will make diabetes control month in our state, in our district, in our city, so it's become a kind of a movement. And I want you all to spread this message to everybody that you know. Okay, now why does diabetes make things worse? This is a very complicated slide for a doctor, but I'll make it very simple. This is the SARS-CoV-2 virus. This is a virus which produces COVID. It enters into the body. Normally, when it enters into the body, it will be entering into almost everybody. Almost 30-40% of the country has already been infected with this. Okay, so once it gets infected, what happens is the body has its immunity. The body has its warriors. Okay, and these are true warriors which fight against any diseases. And these are the macrophages and the white blood cells and all these, the blood cells that we have in our body and in our tissues. They will go and knock out the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So you'll get a cold, you'll get some fever, and then the body takes over, controls you. And mention was now made about haldi and other things which can help you to increase your immunity. Yes, these are all very good. Apart from sleeping well, keeping your sugar under control, exercising regularly, eating more green leafy vegetables, all the things, pranayama, yoga, all these are good to improve your immunity and to make you a stronger person, a fitter person. And I think every Indian should do all this because it makes you more fit. So once you do that, even if the SARS comes, it gets knocked out, like an enemy getting knocked out. Nothing can happen. But if your body is weak, okay, now the virus begins to play havoc. What it does is it'll enter into the system, it'll conquer all your immunity, and then start producing the bad, the bad signals in your body. It'll start triggering. It's like pressing a button to do some harm in your body. It's like pressing a thing and getting a bomb released or something like that, So then what happens is these cells, some of these TH cells and so on, what they'll do is they'll produce toxic substances in the body. Okay, these are called as cytokines, and a storm is produced. Cytokine storm is produced. Once this happens, it's like the suicide bombers, how they do. they put something on their body and then blow it up, and then the whole body is blown up, and along with that many people are blown up. Something like that is happening inside your body. This is going and pressing one button. Once it does that, into the body, all these harmful things are released. It can go and damage the kidney, the lungs, the heart, the blood vessels, produce clots, produce all kinds of things, go into the pancreas, damage the pancreas. Everywhere it can damage. That's how people die. Because once the entire organ systems are damaged, and if you have, and so uncontrolled diabetes is that signal for that virus to spread like this and to become more stronger. And also if you use a wrong treatment, for example, using steroids when you should not use, because steroids actually lower your immunity. And that's what it's supposed to do. When you have this stage, the cytokine storm, then you give the steroid to save the person's life. That's the only drug we have. You give it and it'll stop that storm and it'll save you. Okay. So, but only at that stage, you should use a steroid. If you think you're going to use steroid to prevent COVID, think again, because you're actually lowering, you're like opening the door and saying, come, virus, come. So it'll go in and, free entry, and it'll go and multiply because without any resistance. All these things also you will affect when you give steroids. Okay. So your own immunity also you're going to reduce. And that's why you should not use steroids unnecessarily. That is leading to diseases like mucormycosis and so on, which I'll talk about later. So what should people do to prevent COVID-19? Mundane question. I need not even give you the answer. All of you will tell me: wear a mask, social distancing, frequent hand washing. Has this changed in 1 year? No. It has become emphasized more and more. And the price India paid was for neglecting this. We have a bad habit in Indians. We think we are too great. That's one of the problems. It's nice to be proud, but we should not be arrogant. So we developed, that's called hubris. Hubris is another term for arrogance. So what happened was when the first wave came, whole world was thinking, how come India is like this? How come India is like that? How come so many people died in US with 1/3 of the population? And Indians, how did they escape? We have taken BCG. We have taken this. We are, yoga people. We are Ayurveda people. We are, our immunity is very strong. We already have this. Our ancient traditions are all there. We Indians will never get affected. We are a superior race. That is called hubris. What we need is humility and say we are like anybody else. All the others are also human beings. We are also human beings. If you do all these things, it's good for you, but that doesn't mean that, we can brag about it or something like that. And that is what happened. At that time, bang, it came and took us by surprise, and we were not ready for it. We stopped wearing masks, we started mixing, we started doing all kinds of things, and then we had the second wave. Okay, so what extra precautions? So continue to wear the mask and continue to take care of yourself, because the third wave is probably not far behind. We don't know what will happen. Now we have what extra precaution people with diabetes take. Control your diabetes well, check your sugars often to ensure good control, eat healthy, take more vegetables, take fruit, take whatever protein, especially vegetable protein, the form of Bengal gram, green gram, black gram. Exercise regularly and do pranayama. Pranayama works in 2 ways. One, it will improve your lung function because you're doing deep breathing, your lung function, therefore your oxygenation will improve. Second, it will decrease your stress, and therefore it will build up your immunity. Otherwise, you're always under panic situation, and then your immunity will not work well. So these are 5 tips for improving immunity and health. Diet: eat healthy and nutritious food, homemade food. Second, exercise regularly, at least 45 minutes to 1 hour. Get your 10,000 steps every day. Reduce stress and anxiety. Listen to positive news. Don't listen to negative news. Sleep well, because that's very important. Sleep by about 10:30, 11 at the latest, and try to get minimum 6 hours, from 6 to 8 hours of sleep. And of course, control chronic conditions like diabetes and hypertension. I talked about fasting blood sugar, postprandial blood sugar, HbA1c, okay? But these are the 4 pillars of diabetes management. Diet I talked about, exercise I talked about, education is very important. That is why when you invite me to give a talk, I come, because proper education, giving you the right information is very important. And of course, don't forget the role of medicines. If you're taking medicines, please continue the medicines. At this time, if you go and stop your medicines, it is suicidal, because you're going to push up your sugar and the infection itself will increase. So whatever medicines you're on, consult your doctor and take it. I already told you, fasting between 100 to 120 is good control. Postprandial, after food, it should not go above 160. Your 3 months average should be below 7%. Now I'm introducing a fourth concept to you. It's called time in range, or TIR. 70% of the day, your sugar should be under control. How do you know 70% of the day is under control when you're checking only fasting or after breakfast? How do you know 70% of the 24 hours it's under control? Today, it's possible to find out. There are small patches like this, which you can put on your hand. It's a small sensor, like a 1 rupee coin or 2 rupee coin. Put that on your hand, like a sticker. You just put it there. Then with this reader, you can see anytime you want whether your blood sugar is under control. In fact, for 2 weeks, you can get graphs like this. Now, what I've shown here in the shaded area, I will show it to you here, 70 to 180. It should not, blood sugar should not go below 70, it is too low. It shouldn't go above 180, which is too high. Within that range, if you have your blood sugar, that means your time in range is perfect. And this is 24 hours. So we're wearing a sensor like that. The sensor gives you a complete graph of your blood sugar minute to minute, hour to hour for 24 hours. And it will tell you whether it is really under control or not. And if it is under good control throughout the day. Now, here is just an example of a patient who came to me, and I put this patch for him. This thing is called time in target or time in range. As I said, it should be 70%. That means 70% should be within this gray area. If it goes high, it'll automatically color it yellow. So you know it's high. So the first day when he came, 0% was under control, time on target. Then second day, I gave him his prescription there. New medicines I gave him. It was still 0%, 0%, 0%, 0%. Fourth day, I started seeing actually 3 days later, I started getting the sugars under control. 19% now under control. Remember, my target is 70%. Next day, it came to 65%. Next day, it is 29, 62. And then I started getting it under control. 99% under control, 100% under control, 91% under control, 74% under control. At the end of 2 weeks, it tells you for the 2 weeks what is average. It was 47%. That's because the first 3 days we lost. Okay. So I said, okay, let's put one more. So we'll see whether next month, next 2 weeks, it's going very low or not, because it shouldn't go very low. If it goes very low, it will be picked up here. It's called time below target. If it stays above 180, it will be time above target. So you can see initially when it came, time above target was 100% and time in target was 0. Time below target was 0. Now let's see what happened the second week. Second week, you can see time in target is 98%, 95%, 99%, 98%, 99%, 100%, 100%, 100%. Okay. 100%, 94, 96, 95, 100, 98, 100. And the average is 98%. I want only 70. 98% is under control. How much time is above the target? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. What is 100% has now become 0. Below target, some 2%, 4%. Now, it may be just, when I say 70, 1 day, 1 minute, if it goes to 69, also it will pick it up. It's very sensitive. So you can take it that it's normal. So now he has got 100% under control. From 100% out of control, he's become 100% under control. What did he do to check that? Just wore a patch like this. Just stick it on your hand, and that's enough. See how technology has developed. You don't even have to poke your blood sugar, go to the lab. You don't have to do anything to do that. Now, next thing is, can COVID-19 precipitate new onset diabetes? Now, this I didn't discuss last time. New information has come. Yes, COVID can produce diabetes by stress, anxiety, depression. Because of fear itself, you can get diabetes. Irregular lifestyle. During lockdown, people don't go for a walk. They decrease physical activity. They stop eating fruits, vegetables, unhealthy diet. Because of this fear, they start eating, binging, all they can produce. And now we know direct viral damage to the pancreatic beta cells can occur. Of course, the fourth one, which I have not shown here, steroid induced. So steroids can push up the sugar due to COVID-19. And lastly, viral damage to pancreatic beta cell. This is what I wanted to show you. We didn't have the proof for this. But about a month ago, a breakthrough paper came published in Nature Metabolism. It's one of the world's top leading journals. What they found was they took postmortem of people who died with COVID and they had diabetes. When they died, they opened up the body and had a look at it. And inside, they were able to see, this is the uninfected pancreas. You can see the beta cells are very big and nice. They're secreting insulin. This is when the SARS-CoV-2 is affected. The beta cells are all damaged. Okay, they're all damaged here. and it's become empty. Where insulin is supposed to be there, it's all completely damaged. And here you can see when this remdesivir is injected, the beta cells are retained. So we're able to show that the beta cells are going into the pancreas, damaging it, and producing diabetes. This is the first demonstration of that. So we are now studying it as part of an international group, which is studying this to find out how many cases are actually produced. The diabetes is produced by COVID-19. Now I'm going to switch tracks. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll wind up. So this is about mucormycosis. This is also called as the black fungus, and people are all talking about this now. It's a fungal infection that affects people whose immunity is very low. If you're a cancer patient, uncontrolled diabetes, after transplant, when you're on an immunosuppressant, HIV, AIDS, these are the people who get mucormycosis. In the whole country, in India, in 1 year, we used to see 5 cases, 10 cases. Maybe the whole, all ENT doctors in their lifetime, they would have seen 2 cases, 3 cases. In fact, I had seen only 2 or 3 cases in my lifetime. After this second wave of the COVID came, 12,000 cases have been reported in India, and the numbers are going up. In Tamil Nadu alone, we had 400, 500 cases. In some places like Mumbai and Gujarat and so on, there's even more. So what is mucormycosis? It is what is called as the normal fungus, the mold, what we call as, or a spore. I'll give you the best example of that to make a layman understand. You take bread, cut the bread, and leave it open for 3 days, 4 days, 1 week. What will happen? That white bread will start becoming green or black in color. Inside that, the fungus will form because it is a little wet. It is moist. From the air, the fungus will come. The air has fungus in it. We don't know. Even now, if you check, there may be 1 or 2 fungi there. The body gets rid of it. But if you have uncontrolled diabetes or any other condition which reduce, like steroids, use excessive amounts of steroids, this fungus can multiply very badly. And that is what is called as mucor, one of the deadliest of fungus infections. What are the signs and symptoms? Can produce pain, redness around the eye. You can see here, the nose, the eye, fever, headache, coughing, shortness of breath, bloody vomit will come, and the mental status will come when it's affected the brain. From the nose, it will go to the eye, and from there it can go into the brain. Once it goes to the brain, it's almost fatal, always fatal. Very few will survive. But in the early stages, you pick it up, you can cure it. Completely, you can cure it. When to suspect? If you think you've got sinusitis, but some black thing starts coming from there or blood starts coming from there, it could be mucormycosis. One-sided facial pain can be mucormycosis. Blackish discoloration of the nose, that's a little late stage. The jaw getting involved, eye getting involved, eye getting red, eye getting swollen, eye coming out like that, pressing on that, or double vision, all this can come. And of course, chest pain, pleural effusion, bloody vomit, when you cough, blood comes. These are all signs of mucormycosis. So I would say mucormycosis is yet another reason why diabetes control has to be very good when treating patients with COVID-19. As if we don't have enough reasons already, here is one more. Of all the 12,000 patients in India, when they did the analysis, how many had diabetes? 95% had uncontrolled diabetes. 5% may not have had, but they've had some other disease. But 95% is due to uncontrolled diabetes. That is why I said, let's make June as a diabetes controlled month. If you do that and everybody's sugar gets under control, mucormycosis will go away. Those are already having, we'll treat, and no more mucormycosis you will have. I think it's an urgent thing which we have to do. Now let me turn to one last point about vaccination. A very controversial subject, and many people are still scared to take the vaccine and so on. And I'll give you some recent statistics about that also. So why is vaccination important? Because this is a viral disease which can be prevented completely by vaccination. What are the vaccines available in India? Right now we have 2, Covishield and Covaxin. Sputnik is just becoming available, but some others like Novaxin and a few others, Pfizer, all these are likely also to come, and a few other companies in India are also trying to make it. Who should be vaccinated? Everyone should be vaccinated. If any one of you listening to this program has not been vaccinated, I would suggest tomorrow itself, today itself, try to go and get yourself vaccinated. Okay? Then you will say, no, I've heard of somebody who died due to vaccination. Yes, I've also heard of 1 or 2. I'll explain how it is to you. Then you will understand what. I'm not denying it. I'm telling you, yes, it's true. But let me tell you the truth behind that. I have also heard of some plane crashing. You heard of plane crashing somewhere? Somewhere one plane crashed. Does it mean that every plane should be stopped now because one plane crashed? Okay. What about the millions of people who are traveling, millions of flights every day which is taking place that didn't crash? Then after many years one plane crashes, something went wrong with that plane. It's a thing. And like that, in our body, human body, everybody is not the same. They have some inherent disease, they have some genetic defect, they have something. So about 1 in 5 lakh people can have a serious side effect due to vaccine. About 1 in 100 can have a mild side effect, some little fever, little pain, which will subside in 2 days' time. About 1 in 5 lakh people can have a serious side effect, of which half of them can be treated and they can recover. About 1 in a million or 1 in 2 or 3 million people may die due to vaccination. But if you don't vaccinate, several lakh people will die due to that. Just yesterday, from All India Institute, Delhi, they have looked at people who have got vaccine, who have, who are the death rates and so on. What they are saying is, even if people who have got the vaccination get the disease again, because the strain has changed a little bit, some variant has come, something, even in the minority of people, there are only about 100 people who got reinfected. All of them survived. Nothing happened to them. In my own hospital, all those who got vaccinated, nothing happened to them in the second wave. Whereas I had 3 deaths in my hospital, all the 3 refused vaccination. Okay, so it's very clear. The statistics is very, very, very clear. So don't think about some rare thing like a plane crashing or there's an accident on the road, therefore I will never go out on the road because there's an accident. It happens. Life happens like that. Life is not 100% guaranteed. But please take the vaccination, wear a mask. These are the only 2 things that we have in our country. If India is to get rid of COVID, that's the only way. Can people with diabetes undergo vaccination? Of course, they should be given priority. They are the people who are dying due to COVID. So why would you not give vaccination? I have already given to about 6,000 to 8,000 people already in my own hospital. And I know of at least another 5,000 to 6,000 of my patients who have taken the vaccine. So some 10,000 to 12,000 people of my patients have already taken. Not a single one had a side effect. Touch wood. Not a single one had a side effect due to the vaccine. That's why I'm saying it's so rare. Maybe if I give it to 10 million people, I might find one side effect will come. That will happen even other ways. Even if you simply take something else, you go and take some other medicine also, you will get some side effect. Side effects do come in some human beings, unfortunately. But we're trying to find out who are those people and try to save that also. Why the second wave of COVID-19? I already said that. We took it lightly. We took it too lightly and we thought we were celebrating too early. Never celebrate. You know, there's you're playing a cricket match, okay? And there are 3 balls left. And the fellow has to hit 20 runs. So you already start celebrating. We have won, we have won, we have won. No, you're not won. Next ball can be a no ball, okay? Which gets hit for a 6. And then the next 3 shots he hits for 6 also. And he wins the match. You already start celebrating when you're having 3 balls left, saying, how can he? We have got 24 runs to make, but there are only 3 balls left. So we have won. And you start celebrating. No, it's not over. Similarly, COVID is not over today. So let's not celebrate today. I can already see celebration starting. Second wave, we have won it. Oh, we have won it. India has done this. Good. If India has done it, good. But don't get again trapped by the third wave now. Okay. Let's get rid of every single case of COVID. Let us declare that India doesn't have a single case. 3 days back from the UK, they said in 1 day, they didn't have a single death due to COVID. Not even one in the whole country. Now that is success. And we have to reach there. Today, thousands are still dying. We still haven't got rid of it. So let's keep, the new variants are coming. Reinfection can come. The effect of the vaccine may go away after 6 months, 1 year. We don't know. So many things are there. We're learning new about this. So let's be careful. These are some of the new symptoms which we didn't hear in the first round. Conjunctivitis, diarrhea, headache, skin rashes, hearing loss. These are all things which are diarrhea is coming. These are all things which we didn't see in the first wave. So we cannot rule out that a third wave can come. If it comes, let us all be prepared. By the time if you've all been vaccinated, third wave will be a small wave. If you take Spanish flu, first wave was small. Second wave was huge. That's where everybody got killed. There's a small third wave and then it was over. Spanish flu went away. 100 years, we didn't have anything like this. We hope the same thing follows. However, COVID need not be as frightening as made out to be. If you look at the deaths due to COVID, this is slightly outdated. Now, I think we've crossed 3 lakh deaths. A few months ago, it was, I think beginning of the year, it was 2.3 lakhs. So 2.3 lakh people died due to COVID. Oh my God, so many people died. Do you know these are actual figures from WHO about the number of deaths in India due to other causes? Okay, in the same year when COVID was there, 15 lakh people died due to heart attacks. It was 2 lakhs due to COVID. 9 lakhs died due to chronic pulmonary disease. 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs died due to cancer. 7 lakhs died due to stroke. 7 lakhs died due to diarrhea. 5 lakhs died due to respiratory diseases. Even diabetes by itself, diabetes contributes to heart attack, so that will be added there. If you just take diabetes without heart attack, without anything, it is more than COVID deaths. So every year, we're losing more people due to diabetes than due to COVID, okay? Then why is everybody talking about COVID? Because it happened suddenly. Suddenly it comes 1 week later, man is dead. So it's a little dramatic. That is why everybody is focusing on that. If you look at the actual number of causes, if you list it, COVID is right down. It is not one of the commonest causes of death. Therefore, take care, stay safe, everything will be good. So we are living in unprecedented times. COVID-19 has changed our lives, maybe forever, because maybe continuing to do these programs like this instead of coming to your place has become a new norm. It may continue like that. Right now, COVID-19 is a critical stage, but if we handle it properly, it will settle down. Everybody should try to get vaccinated so we can continue our lives as usual. Meanwhile, living with attention to diet, exercise, control of chronic conditions like diabetes and hypertension are essential. So that is our center. If you need any further help even after this, you can contact me. Those are all the places where we have our branches, and that is our email ID and phone number if you want to contact me. And we are also on social media. The reason I'm saying this is after this talk, if you want to be continuously in touch with me, as more and more recent things come, I make 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos. What is mucormycosis? What can you do? What is healthy diet? What is this? What is that? Can diabetic eat mango? Can this, that? All these are discussed in short videos. 2 minutes is enough, and you can get the message, okay? And that's my book. In case some of you have not read my book, it's become #1 bestseller on Amazon. It's called Making Excellence a Habit. And those are some of my videos, right from what tests are and what you should do with COVID, importance of COVID, importance of blood sugar testing, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to now stop sharing and ready to take any questions from you.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. It was a very candid information and very important for today's scenario. And there are many diabetic patients who are watching. So we have some questions. I would like to read it for you.
Please.
First question is from Harijan Das. He says, Dr. Mohan, self-caring on diabetes since 1982, still surviving on insulin, 30 plus 32.5, human mixed-start medicine. So I think he wants to understand what exactly he need to do more in current scenario since this COVID infection is all around. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you shared your idea and that for 30 years you have gone on well with the insulin. So you yourself are proving that insulin does not have any side effects. I've had people who not only on insulin, but other tablets also 40, 50, 60 years. They're now 95 years old, 100 years old, and they're all doing well. So if you look after yourself well, that's the most important thing. Look after yourself, even if you're taking insulin, even if you're taking tablets, whatever medicines you're taking, doesn't matter, but you look after your diet, you follow a regular exercise, do pranayama, reduce your stress and anxiety, build up your immunity, and generally be positive in your thinking. My autobiography is all about that. The 3 chapters on miracles which happen just by thinking positive, So it's a slightly spiritual kind of a book. It's not, take this treatment, take insulin. It's not that kind of book. It is real life stories of how people who thought negatively, they did badly. Honest truth. And people who thought positive, nothing will happen to me, doctor, I'm going to be fine. And he is okay. because the brain responds to these positive commands. Your immunity improves, your immunology improves, your general, the hormones improve. All the good things happen when you think positive. That's what our ancient wisdom is also telling us, that do our duty and leave the rest to God. That's what Bhagavad Gita is also saying. Everybody says same thing, nothing new I'm saying. But in the modern day, we tend to forget that. We give too much of importance to something, to money or to something else or to something else, and then we get completely distracted, and then our whole life is ruined. Oh, in the stock market, I lost some money. So what? So what if you lost a lot of money? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make you start again, start all over again. Nothing will happen. You go to the stock market, all the money you made, you make another 20 crores, you'll carry it with you to heaven, straight there, and you'll sit there, building a big house in heaven. You're going to do that? Not 1 rupee, 1 paisa, you will not take with you. So why worry about things which are beyond our, I'm not saying for that, throw away your money. Be careful. I have a policy, it's called ABC. Always be careful. ABC. Okay. So always be careful. But it doesn't mean that if something happens, you should be let down. Oh, this happened to me, I'm gone. Doesn't matter. Resilience, bounce back. Go on. Life is to go on. You've got so much more to do in life. So that is what you should do. So I congratulate you for looking after your diabetes, taking your insulin, everything. But don't leave it off in between. Keep checking and keep all those parameters I told you, sugar, HbA1c, time and range, all these things keep under control. Next 30 years later, you come back and tell me if I'm there. You come back and tell me 30 years later that you're still doing well.
Thank you for your for answering the questions. I have few more questions. One question is, do diabetic patients have more tendency to catch COVID?
It's a debated issue. In my own opinion, no, because if you're staying at home, you're not exposed. The virus won't go knocking on the door and say, are you diabetic? Then I'm going to come and infect you, isn't it? If you are, but I'll put it this way. Suppose you're in a room, in the same room, there are 50 people with diabetes, 50 people without diabetes, and somebody with COVID is now coughing, okay? It stands to reason that if you have uncontrolled diabetes, it will enter your body and do more harm than another person's body, in whom it will get knocked out fast. So I don't think you will actually catch the COVID easier, although other infections you will catch, urinary infection, tuberculosis, all these are more. It's never been settled. But one thing is sure, if you get COVID and you have uncontrolled diabetes, you will do worse. About that, there is no doubt.
Thank you, doctor. The next question is, once the diabetic patient recovers from COVID, maybe after hospitalization, what precautions they should take?
So today, if you've been in hospital and you've come out, most probably you would have been put on steroids. Okay, and there's nothing wrong because steroid is life-saving. It's probably saved your life. That's why you came out of the hospital. But remember that when they discharge you from the hospital, I have seen 8 out of 10 doctors give the instructions only for the COVID. They don't give the instructions for the diabetes, what to do. They also, very often forget to tell them how long to take the steroids. See, steroids actually needed only for 10 days, actually. And then maybe another one week at the maximum. I've seen, people taking steroid for 2 months, 3 months. It's not needed. It's a life-saving thing in hospital that time. And then you cannot suddenly stop steroid. So you'll have to wean off the dose. Let's say you're on 40 milligrams of something. Then they'll make it 20, then 10, then 5, then 2.5, then you stop. That's how you have to stop. From 80 or 40, you stop, suddenly you'll go into a shock. Your BP will drop and you can die also. So that's why you have to just wean it off and within a week, stop it and then gone. So you'll find your sugars initially very high. Now it'll start dropping. That means your insulin requirement may come down, your tablet requirement may come down. That is a time when wearing a patch like that, I find it so easy. You can see how you saw those graphs, how it is coming down. So you can see beautifully. That's one instance of using this. Okay, if you don't have the access to that, at least use your glucometer and see what is in the morning, what is in the afternoon. Today you check morning, tomorrow you check afternoon, next day you check evening. You'll know the trend. What is 300, 400, suddenly becomes 200. Oh, it's dropping. Then 150, then 100. One day you see 60. Oh, it's going very low. Now I better stop. Then you get in touch with your diabetologist, ask him or her, and then reduce your dose of medicines, and then soon you'll be fine. Also, eat healthy because you just recovered from your COVID. So eat good protein, good fruits, vegetables. Continue to build up your immunity. After 2 or 3 weeks, when you're better and your strength is a little better, resume your walk, resume everything. Continue to wear the mask. Continue to wear the mask because you may pick up another variant from somewhere else. You might have got with the the UK variant you might have known. Now the Indian variant may come out, South African variant, now Vietnam variant is there. So many variants. We don't know who is bringing which variant into the. So you may be protected against one, you may not be protected against the other. The other question people ask is, I didn't take my vaccination. Now I've got COVID. Now I'm well protected. My antibodies have come. So do I need to take the vaccine? You still have to take it, but take it after 2 months. Don't take it immediately because already you're just recovering from one inflammation. Don't go and poke one more with the vaccine. Wait for 2 months. Let this completely settle. Now you take another one. It's like getting a booster dose. Okay. So once you take that, for another 1 year, you are protected. So you will not get it again. So even those who have had COVID, please take the vaccination, but wait for 2 months and then take it.
Dr. Saab, there is one more. Thank you for this detailed submission and suggestion. So there is another question. This is regarding vaccination. So those who are having multiple complications like heart problem, diabetes, nephro problem, and then uncontrolled hypertension. So all those things together and at a higher age, shall they go for vaccination or they should avoid?
If you ask me, all the more reason why they should go, because if they don't get vaccinated and they get COVID, almost surely the risk of death is like 80-90%. They already got all the problems. Now they're just waiting for a little infection to come. Even a mild COVID may knock them off. So if they get vaccinated, they are protected. There may be 1 or 2 rare diseases, some clotting problem, some clotting disorder, something like that, immunological problem or something, where if you have a doubt, you're having some rare disease where you're not sure whether the vaccine can be taken, ask your doctor and then take it. I think this is only like 1%, 2% of the entire Indian population who will probably have to think, should I take or should I not take? The other thing that I tell people is, the other day there's a 96-year-old lady, okay, who's at home. She's not exposed or anything. And her son, who is 70 something, he's asking me, shall I give vaccination to my mother? I said, no need. She's 96 years old. She's in good health and she's continuing. With God's grace, she will live for a few more years. Okay. So let her continue like that. What are you going? She's not exposed. She's not going out of her house at all. She's convenient. Now, if you give this and some reaction comes something, why are you giving it? What are you going to do? Are you going to make her live up to 200 years with that? So she's already crossed 96. She's 97 years old now. So let her be in peace. Let her have good thing. Let her keep her thing, poke. Suppose that develops some fever or something. Unnecessarily, you're troubling an old lady. Leave her in peace. So there may be 1 or 2 exceptions like this where we would say, well, probably not needed. We can think everyone else should get vaccinated.
Sure. Thank you, Doctor.
I've taken it. By the way, I was one of the first to get it in India. What happened was January 16. Was the day when it started. You all know that. Modi ji went and took it, and then whole country was waiting. On January 15th, I got a call from, there are only 2 hospitals in Chennai which started on that day. So from one of the hospitals, they called me and they said, we are giving only 10 people and you are one among that 10. I said, why me? Why me? Why you want me to be the guinea pig? They said, no, Dr. Mohan, if you say like that, how? You have to be a role model. And then you have to come because they see Dr. Mohan take it and a few other prominent, all the 10 are doctors. So we want the 10 most prominent doctors in Madras, Chennai to take it. And we have selected you in that. I said, I'll come. Anyway, I have to take it. Okay. If something is going to happen to me, it'll happen anyway. Whether I take it today or take it after 1 month, it's still going to happen to me. Okay. So I might as well take it. Let me be brave. I'm not brave enough. How will others take? So I went and took it. Immediately I posted on Facebook a small video of me taking it. And I said, yeah, I have taken it. You know how many hundreds of people took it after that? Oh, yes, taken, yes, taken, yes, taken. So all my patients said, oh, yes, taken, then we'll take. That's exactly what they wanted. There are a few role models. Thank God I didn't even have 99 fever after that. I didn't have anything. I took my second dose. Again, I had nothing. Touch wood, everything was fine. Okay. So I'm confident. Then I got all my staff vaccinated, about 400, 500 of my staff. Nothing happened to any of them. They're all doing fine. And they're all protected. When the second wave came, I knew that they're all protected. So I'm a strong believer in that. And whenever people, the non-believers will keep forwarding me every day. This is a hoax. This is this. This is that. We don't have anything else. Tell me what we have. If you have something else alternative, I'll gladly give that. But we don't have. This is the only thing we have to protect our people. And there are countries which have got rid of it. UK has got rid of COVID, almost complete. because they're vaccinated. I hope they don't get a third. They're also a little bit arrogant now. They're saying we don't have a single death. We don't have. I hope at least 1 or 2 countries are completely. Then we have hopes that 6 months down the line we'll also be in that situation.
Thank you, Dr. Mohan. One more question that has come is if while taking the treatment and the patient is on steroids, and of course, when a diabetic patient catches COVID, there are some further damages to the pancreas or something, and
No.
it's reversible.
Yeah. No, steroid doesn't damage the pancreas. What steroid does is, see, there are hormones. There's only one hormone in the body to reduce the sugar, that is insulin. There are about 5 or 6 hormones in the body which will increase the sugar and oppose the action of insulin. And steroid is in that. So once you give the steroid, all these hormones are increased and insulin doesn't have much effect. That is why the sugar is going up. It's not damaging the pancreas, luckily. So what happens? You will have to give more insulin to keep that balanced till your steroid dose starts coming down. So definitely sugar is going to go up. It's very well known. So give more insulin to counter that. Once the sugar is controlled, you're not having any side effect due to that. Very soon, since it's a temporary thing, it's normally meant for 10 days. After the 7th day, 8th day, we'll start reducing. You'll find the sugar dropping. Insulin can also drop. People are not on insulin were started because of steroid. When they stop the steroid, they're off insulin also. So this is a very temporary thing, just like giving insulin means steroid temporarily. We give insulin also temporarily, just to match that. That is it.
Wonderful. And then the COVID damage is also temporary for the pancreas?
Yes. It's not a damage at all. It's only increasing the sugar by another route. It is not damaging the. COVID can damage the pancreas.
Yeah, COVID, I was asking about.
Yeah, but sometimes it is, it's only mild, the COVID-induced one. Sometimes it can be permanent. If COVID goes, I showed you the beta cells, how they are damaged by the virus going there. In such cases, it has already damaged the pancreas, and they will have, to take insulin even after that, because the COVID has gone and damaged the beta cells. That's
And
rare, maybe 1 in 100. Sorry?
For lungs also, that damage?
And that also recovers. 99%, you do a CT scan after 1 month, 2 months, you cannot even make out I've had X-ray chest of a person who doesn't look like a lung at all. The whole thing is white, like as if the whole COVID, one of my classmates, it happened. We thought he's going to die. He's my age and he had full COVID, 100% involvement. So we all were praying for him, saying he's gone. Slowly he recovered. And then today, when we did his X-ray and everything, normal, 100% normal, completely normal. He's recovered completely. So even in bad COVID, you can recover. But the problem is, if your immunity is very bad, if you're uncontrolled diabetes, if that cytokine storm goes and damages your pancreas or lungs or heart or something, then you may not come out of it. That is the whole problem.
Oh, thank you for giving this nice talk on this. And there are few more questions if the host permits. I would like to take one is about which one is better, COVID shield or the co-vaccine, and what are the side effects of the vaccine if should people with diabetes pay attention to. So these 2 questions will take last 2 questions.
For diabetes, there is no special side effects. So diabetic can take the vaccine just like. Now, my own assessment, and because it's 2 different companies and a lot of political thing and all involved, I have to be careful what I say. But my own independent assessment is that Covaxin is a little milder vaccine. So therefore, the effect of the vaccine is slightly lower than Covishield. Covishield is a little more powerful vaccine, and therefore the efficacy, if you look at the efficacy, how many, and by the way, Covaxin results phase 3 have not been published so far. I don't know why they have not published it, but we're still waiting for it. Whereas Covishield has been completely published in all good journals and so on. So we don't know the exact data about Covaxin. So the efficacy, if you take 100 people with this, 100 people with that, definitely Covishield coverage is a little better. It also works a little longer, which means the second dose can be given after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Here you have to give within 4 weeks because the efficacy is not very good. Proportionately, because a dead vaccine which you're injecting, whereas in Covishield you're injecting a live vaccine. That is a difference. So if you see the side effects, with Covaxin it's believed to be a little less because the effect is also less, the side effect is also less. With Covishield, the effect is more, the coverage is more, but the occasional side effects that you heard is also more with Covishield. So it's a kind of a balance that you have to choose. And I would say whichever you get access to, take it. Doesn't matter. This or that, both, any one, whichever is available to you, you take it. Or you have any preference for one and you have for that, take that also. But please take the vaccine. Whichever it is, take the vaccine.
Thank you, Dr. Saab, once again, and it's a real pleasure for all of us. Mr. Jitendra also has conveyed your thanks to you. And now we have with us our co-chair, Mr. Rakesh Nagpal. I'll hand over to Mr. Rakesh Nagpal, co-chairman, ASSOCHAM Himachal Pradesh State Development Council, and he is CEO and founder of Alpha Chemicals, for his closure address.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm really privileged, Padam Shri Dr. V. Mohan, for sparing his precious time for the session of ASSOCHAM's COVID-19 awareness specialities. Sir, it is such a great pleasure for us to be the country's leading diabetologist, who has to his credit so many valuable publications. I read about your publications, sir, on your website. And when I discussed with my friends who are from medical fraternity, so they were really very happy that you are organizing a seminar with Dr. V. Mohan. They said we regularly follow Dr. V. Mohan. So it was a session, sir. I personally have been organizing a free diabetes camp in Hill State from the last 17 years, sir. And we have been organized, we cater mostly to the underprivileged section of the society, sir. Those who do not have access to the latest in medical sciences, either or they are ignorant or they have some affordability issues, sir. I have a fair idea on how deep-rooted diabetes is, even among the rural population, sir. Sir, from my experience with our camps, I have seen that around 10 to 12% people we screen in our camps are found to have type 2 diabetes, sir. Concept of TIR, sir, it was very new to me, sir, and some very new things we learned from you today, sir. Thank you so much for such a informative and sir. I also have been advocating vaccination every day, sir. The example you gave about the aeroplane, that would be a that is a very useful example for all of us. So that will help us to convince people that vaccination is very important. The difference between Covaxin and Covishield was explained very well, sir. Thank you so much for that, sir. We assure you, sir, whatever we have learned today, we shall sincerely follow that. In the words of John F. Kennedy, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of ASSOCHAM Himachal Pradesh, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the delegates who blessed and took their valuable time to attend this seminar. I must mention my deep sense of appreciation for our regional director, Mr. Gaurav Mahajan, our chairman, Mr. Jitendra Sodhi, and Mr. Raman Angara. Thank you once again, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay safe and stay blessed. My very best wishes to all of you. And look forward to more such sessions with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
So I'm sure this session was a very knowledgeable session for all the participants who have joined from all over India. And there are few doctors who are requesting us to guide the way forward if they want to consult you. So that also
Sure.
will, yeah.
Sure. So you have my email ID. If you want to share it with them, please do. If any questions we left out or anything more they want my help, ask them to just write to me. And I'm only an emailer. I can help them.
Yeah, host will do that. Sure. Thank you. And I'm sure this session was very, very knowledgeable for each one who participated. We have a series of sessions planned. So now the next section is coming about the cardiac patients, and that is on June of 19th of June. So till then, it's again, stay safe, stay happy. stay healthy, and my all the good wishes to everyone, and special thanks to Dr. and your team. Thank you. And I hand it over to Jitendra.
Thank you so much. I would also like to thank Rajkumar and Cynthia and my team for arranging. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. V. Mohan. It was really privileged to meet you. Thank you.